right, everybody. You know what time it is. The Real Talk Sports Show Saturday update is coming up right now. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show Saturday update. Bam! I'm your man, Minister Jonathan Simmons, and we thank God for all those of you who are tuning in today to the Saturday Sports Broadcast. Big shout out to those of you who are listening to us right now on the legendary WIGO Pacesetter 1570 AM on your dial. You also can find us at WIGO1570.com. And if you're really into the audio, check this out. Go to your app store, whichever it may be, Google Play or the Apple Store, and download the free, that's right, absolutely free TuneIn app. And here's what you can do. You can check us out and tune into us via the app. Put in WIGO 1570 in the search engine, or and voila, you'll find us broadcasting to you right here and right now. So we appreciate all those of you who have tuned into the broadcast this morning, and those of you who jumped on and then jumped off. That's the funny thing about when we broadcast on social media. It's really funny. Like, you guys got to help me. I'm trying to find a way to have like an explosive or like really eye-catching or ear-popping intro where people will jump on and they'll stay on. Maybe I should bring like some, I don't know, some dancing girls on. Maybe I should be, doing a little dance myself. I'm not really sure. But anyway, trying to find some ways that we can really engage you guys, because we want this show to be fun. We want you to enjoy it, and we want you to be able to be a part of it. And speaking of that, here's the best way to be a part of it. You can go on to any platform you're watching and make a comment, and I'll be able to see it and pop it up on the screen. I can respond to you that way. For those of you who are watching, for those of you who are listening on WIGO 1570, you can call the lovely producer, Miss Erica, aka Lady E. She's back in the studio. Hit her up, 404-361-1571, and she'll let me know what you guys got to say, and we'll bring it on to the broadcast. Well, hey, I'm in Atlanta. Now, the cool thing about being in Atlanta is that you have, I think, sometimes the best and worst of everything. Okay, so in terms of, let's talk about the worst first. We're gonna get the bad news out of the way. It is really difficult to cover sports here in Atlanta, um, especially regarding football and basketball, because of the highs and lows that you get covering the professional teams, aka the Atlanta Hawks and Atlanta Falcons, especially about the last 10 or 15 years. We've had some great highs. Seriously. A couple years ago, Atlanta Hawks, led by the young Trey Young and all the young guns, um, like him, John Collins, Kevin Huter, aka Big Red, aka Red Velvet, because of the smooth jump shot. And then of course the Swiss Army knife man, the mad banger underneath the boards, Clint Capella, who led the league that year in rebounding. And the Hawks, the young guns, rolled all the way up to the Eastern Conference Finals, and probably had not been for a Trey Young injury, might have been able to push the Milwaukee Bucks to a Game 7, or maybe even squeeze out a win and get to the finals. But since then, it's been boom, 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 boom. The Hawks have went backwards. They basically disassembled the team. Collins is gone. Huter is gone, leaving us with just Trey Young. We brought in DeJounte Murray, to help Trey out. We brought in some other pieces. Certainly the young Jalen Johnson, a guy that we got early on, looks like he could be a player as he comes back from injuries. But the bottom line is the Hawks have been a mediocre team since that meteoric run to the NBA Finals. And it's hard to watch them because one game they'll play really, really well, the next game they don't. The players on the teams at times, especially our leader Trey Young, at times has not seemed to be fully engaged in what it takes to win. And what I mean by that is that I remember the comment a couple of years ago that, hey, it's not as fun in the regular season. The constant chirping and barking at the reps, which I think sometimes helps the Hawks not get the kind of calls they need to get. I think that the NBA, matter of fact, I'm almost to the point where I think that the Hawks should actually complain, because really, if you watch Hawks games even at homes, the Hawks don't get the calls because they're always complaining. Chirp, 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 chirp. And so that has caused a situation where we have not been able to consistently get the calls we need to win. And like I said, just kind of watching the Hawks now, it's been really tough to do so. So I'm hoping that they might be able to find another key player to add to the Hawks. I think they need somebody on as a big, somebody in the front line, a center, power forward, so forth and so on. Okay, so now before I get into the Hawks and delving even more into that, remember I told you I was giving you the bad news first versus the good news about covering Atlanta sports teams, especially professional teams. So we go to our Atlanta Falcons, a team which, I've been hesitant to say anything about their treatment of the minister, but these guys have not given me a credential to cover the team since this new regime has come in. Now, maybe that's why they can't get to the playoffs or become a reasonable team, because they ain't treating the minister, and not just me, but many other people who covered the Falcons for years wrong. But that's another story. I'll talk about that because I got a show coming up. I'm gonna ask the question: is this Falcons problem a spiritual problem? I'll get into that. But not today. All right. So in watching the Falcons, it's been same thing, up and down. There are some weeks we look at them, they run this magnificent running machine, they pound the ball, and their defense plays great, and they find ways to win games. Then other times they're ahead, they look like they should put the game away, and just unbelievable bad thinking, bad plays, fumbles, interceptions, bad play calling. The bottom line is this is a team that is built on paper to win, but consistently all we get is mediocre play. And let's go back a couple of years to their runs, a couple of times where they made deep runs into the playoffs. Under Matt Ryan, they did it 3 times, went to the NFC Championship twice. They did win it one time and went to the Super Bowl. But in both cases, both in the NFC Championship game that they lost and the Super Bowl, Falcons have big leads. And mysteriously, the coaches just seem to forget how to call a game to win a game. And we saw teams that really should have won, should have given us that trophy, get us nothing. So it really is very debilitating trying to cover these teams, because, like I say again, I don't know what to tell you guys. Each week I come on here and it's another like faux pas, another bad fumble, another interception, another bad play call, and I just don't know. The only team that has really helped us, and even they have given us a lot of disappointment, is the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves, to their credit, they have in fact won 2 world titles. One of them since I've been here in Atlanta. They won back in '95 and they won in 2021. So thumbs up to the Braves. But even that team, frustrating to cover. I mean, so many times this team should have, and not just in my opinion, but sports fans everywhere have had teams that look like they were World Series winning teams, like last year, when they had the best record in the league, when they had one of the most potent offensive lineups in baseball history. But yet, what do we get? Bump, 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 bump. We get Ugats. For the second year in a row, the Braves are out of there in the very first round of the playoffs. Matter of fact, not only did they get out, but it's the way they got out. A team that led the league in home runs, a team that was one of the top offensive juggernauts in Major League Baseball, a team that has scored, I think they were in the top 5 in runs scored. Nothing. They look like a bunch of clowns. Now, of course, people talked about the fact that, well, it was a 5-day layoff, and the Dodgers, another great team, got out, and basically all of the top teams from Major League Baseball were out early. But the point is, that's the frustration of covering sports in Atlanta. We can't get consistent winners. Now, again, no disrespect to the Braves and their organizations. They have given you top quality um, baseball as far as the regular season. They've been as good as any team in baseball. So I don't want to take away from what they've done, and they've assembled one of the great lineups in baseball history. But here's the fact of the matter, guys. even though they all say the same thing, only one team can win a championship. When you have a team built like some of the teams that we've had here in Atlanta, we need to get more bang for our buck. We need to be getting more championships. Now, hopefully, we're in a position that the University of Georgia was a couple of years ago before they got Kirby Smart. Hopefully, we're in a situation where we're just maybe uh, a head coach or two away from getting us into that consistent championship level and getting us some actual titles. Now the University of Georgia has stamped themselves as a team that is a consistent winning ball club, a team that each and every year is going to compete for a national title. You know that. Kirby Smart has put together the machine, the infrastructure to be able to consistently give you a winning team at Georgia. And he really, and he'll tell you a lot of this stuff that he took from Nick Saban, a coaching legend, and then put his own stamp on it. But my question is, when are we going to get that consistently here in our Atlanta sports teams? And you say to yourself, kind of, what's the difference? Why has the University of Georgia found, quote unquote, the magic elixir since they brought in the Kirby Smart? What has been the difference? Well, that's funny you should mention. That's the difference. The difference is it is the leadership and the leadership infrastructure and the accountability, which is a word which is so overused in sports and in life, because most people go and talk about accountability. It's really not there. I see it in my business, the automobile business. Everybody talks about accountability. Everybody talks about doing their part, but often what happens is that people do their part when it's convenient or when it's something that for them. Otherwise, the application of it is not consistent. And so to me, that's the problem that we are facing here in the city of Atlanta with most of our professional teams. We don't have the leadership and then the infrastructure to build a long-term winner, a consistent winner. Anybody can, kind of pop up, flash in the pan. You have a big season where everything lined up perfectly, stars aligned, sunshine. You got that right combination. But can you win consistently? And when I say win at the highest level. Either you're appearing in championships or you're winning championships on a regular basis. And see, that's why I said about the Braves. I mean, the Braves are a great organization, but a lot of times, as great as these teams have been, they've been one and done. Now, to their credit, in the 90s, they did, in fact, get to multiple World Series. But again, they should have won more than just one. I'm just keeping it real. And that's why there were times when the Braves were winning in the playoffs. They didn't sell out the games because everybody said, well, okay, we know what's going to happen. They're going to get to the playoffs and maybe get past the first round. Then the next round, they're going to find some way to lose. Or if we get to the championship, we're going to find out some way to lose. So, it's just, what can I do? Let's go to social media and see what we got going on here. Sullivan, my buddy's in the building. He says, oh, shucky ducky, baby, we back in this thing. Big shout out to Shelly and all the things that are going on. And as he always refers to me, his brother from another mother. Appreciate you, kind sir. And listen, I know you guys have been watching this show and saying, hey, Sully's come on. He said, hey, come out to this hamburger spot. When are you going? We are going. I know we said it repeatedly, but we are going. Schedule's been kind of crazy, but we look forward to getting out there before the end of the football season. And I'm going to declare that because sometimes you have to speak a thing. Just preach talking now. But we are going to be out to his hamburger place out in Sandy Springs. No, excuse me, Johns Creek. My bad. We go out there and we're going to invite you guys to come on out and join us in Sully and Johns Creek. Come out and get a great hamburger, have some fun. We'll have some giveaways. And it's, this is the last home game. So it's either going to be the Bears game or possibly the Saints game. We'll come out there and hang out with Sully and have a good time. So if you guys are in the Metro Atlanta area, anywhere near Johns Creek, which is not too far from downtown Atlanta, hey, hit us up and come on out and join us. And like I said, have some fun as we talk some sports. All right, we got to take a quick little break in the action, boys. And then we're going to come back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show. I give a big shout out to who, the folks that are my main sponsor for high school football and also my employer, Allen Vigil Ford. Let's hear what's going on there And we'll be back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show in just a moment. Don't go nowhere.
Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our number one priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net. Brian, I just want to say congratulations, man. Thanks for coming down from Tennessee to get your new truck from us.
Thank you.
God bless and have a safe trip.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations. What do you think? Is it worth the wait, buddy?
I love it. I can't wait to get on the road with it.
Listen, man, thank you very much, and congratulations to you. Appreciate your business.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Congratulations, Amici, on your new F-250 that you got from us. How was your experience here at Allen Vigil Ford?
Thank you so much, Jonathan, man. I appreciate everything you did for me, man. This is awesome right here. And you did, I mean, your service is impeccable, man. I really appreciate everything you did for me.
Appreciate you, man. Congratulations, and I guess based on your shirt,
Yes,
go
sir.
Hawks.
Let's go, Hawks. Let's get that good draft pick tonight, baby.
Yes, sir.
We're going to championship, man. We're going to win something now.
So there it is, guys. Yeah, so big shout out to my clients. You too can be one of my clients. For those of you who don't know, I actually do work full time at Allen Vigil Ford in Lincoln. As I mentioned many times, they are our title sponsor for our high school football broadcast that we do each and every fall, and also our big contributor and sponsor to the Real Talk Sports podcast, which you're watching and listening to right now. So here's the key. I don't know if you guys are aware, but right now, the Ford Motor Company and Lincoln, which is also part of Ford, has brought it back. That's right, boys. They're back. Rebates, low financing, and discounts. I don't know if those of you have been looking for a car over the last couple of years. No, man, the deals were discounting. Matter of fact, some deals were charging over sticker price. Over. Give me a call. Okay, if you're in the market for a car, or if your family needs some, a family member, or your business, call me. This is my personal information. That's okay. Jay Simmons at realtalksports.net. But more importantly, forget that. Text me 678-410-9833, and the minister will give you the hookup. Yeah, great stuff. I got a lot of inventory there. If you say, hey, brother, I can't really afford a new car, I don't want a Ford or Lincoln, no problem. We got over 100 used cars in stock. Everything that you're looking for, from whether you say, look, I prefer Chevy, I like Toyotas, I like Nissan, we have all that. Or if you like the luxury feel, we got BMWs, we have Mercedes, we even have Porsches and Land Rovers in stock. So again, hit me up, 678-410-9833. If you come on and mention that you heard this on the broadcast, I got a little special gift for you. Let's go back to social media here. Like you said, Sully right here, he says, this is the address. It's 3005 Old Alabama Road in Johns Creek, Georgia. That's going to be sometime in the next 2 weeks. We're going to come out there and invite you guys. We'll put it up on social media and let you know, come on out, get a great burger. Or, hey, if burger's not your flow, no problem. They have a whole great menu of great sports bar food right there. And our man Sully, who's a frequent contributor on our show, will be there. And yeah, it's going to be a great event. And now he's asking, where is the lovely Miss Tree and Tyrone Poole? Well, on Saturdays, they normally don't come on. We normally have them on Tuesdays. They got really busy schedules. But, we appreciate the fact that you were asking about them. And I'll tell them, hey, you guys were looking for them on the Saturday morning recap. Well, speaking of recap, let's recap. Last weekend was big. A lot of stuff went on last weekend. I got a chance to do my annual triple header. And you say, bro, what is that? Triple header is that I start off on the Celebration Bowl. That is for those of you not familiar, that is the de facto Black College Football Championship. HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities, their Division I teams play in two different conferences: the MEAC Conference, which I think is the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, and the SWAC, the Southwestern Athletic Conference. And the winners of those two conferences square off in the championship, which is called the Celebration Bowl. Now, originally, when they did this, it was set up to be the very first bowl game to start the bowl season. But of course, everybody gets jealous, and now other teams, other bowls have jumped in. But the bottom line, at high noon, to kind of kick off the bowl season, the Celebration Bowl is held right here in Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And this year, two teams who had not been there before squared off. It was the Bisons of Howard University versus the Rattlers from Florida A&M. Now, many of you know about Florida A&M. They have Florida A&M, legendary band. Unfortunately, a few years ago, was caught up in a terrible incident where they had some hazing, and they actually almost had to shut down, the entire marching band and the sports program. Is just terrible situation. And again, our prayers and thoughts went out to the family of the young man who lost his life in that ridiculous situation. But uh, life comes around, and people have done things, and people have made mistakes. Thank God that they were able to right the ship. The people that were involved were removed from the university. There were sweeping changes, and now a few years later, FAMU has gotten themselves back to where they were in times past. The Marching 100, outstanding band, and of course their football team, harkening back from the days in the 70s and 80s where they were a dominant team in black college football. So both of those teams were there, and as you would expect, a raucous and hyped crowd. So many people come in because this is an event where not just those two schools, but students from all of the HBCUs make this kind of their annual trek to come out and hang out and to revisit friends and family and just have a good old time. It's kind of like the Super Bowl. It really is. It's got that same vibe where they have events all week long, and I do mean all week long. And all the HBCUs have representatives. They have a lot of different events to have a good time at parties, but they also have some great seminars and educational events for the students, both past and present, to be able to network and hopefully be able to be in a position where they can, in fact, uh, you know, make some impact, get some good jobs, and move into a situation where they can really, have an impact on themselves, their family, and community. So just a great event overall. And the game itself did not disappoint. The Bisons of Howard came in with a record. Now, I know it sounds funny for a championship, of 6-5. And on paper, you look at FAMU, they were 12-1, pretty much a dominant team all year long. But Howard, kind of to let you know where they were coming from, had knocked off a two-time Celebration Bowl champion in North Carolina Central by a staggering score of 50-20 during the regular season. So that kind of let people know that, hey, man, Howard is going to be something to contend with. And sure enough, they were. They jumped off to a 14-0 lead in the first quarter. And I was like, what on earth? I was like, hey, man, these guys might blow the situation up. I just can't get it. But to FAMU's credit, showing why they were a championship caliber team, FAMU used a defense which was a top 5 defense. They were number 1 amongst HBCUs. In the second half, they really shut down the Howard Bison's attack, and they came from behind to win the game 30-26. They had to hold on as Howard made one last attempt to win that ball game. But yeah, it was a great game, a lot of excitement, a lot of fanfare, and then of course, you had the Battle of the Bands, which, if you guys have not seen an HBCU band in full throttle, you have got to go on YouTube and just put in, marching bands, HBCU marching bands. You can put any school you want, FAMU, Norfolk State. All these guys have great bands. Put them in, and man, oh man, Shevich, you will see some stuff that will blow your mind. But yeah, so great game, 30-26. FAMU won. Let's see if I can kind of get some clips so you guys can kind of get a feel for the celebration afterwards, and then we'll get back and talk about some other teams that made a big impact in the bowl season as well. Let's see if I can get a little bit of the clip of the aftermath of FAMU's big win over Howard. Let's see if I got a little clip here. I think I got one here sneaking around here somewhere. Let's see if I can find it. I mean, I have so many clips. I have to work on this. Hey, speaking of that, I'm gonna ask you guys if you know someone who wants to get involved with sports talk radio. Somebody says, "Hey, man," or just like sports broadcasting, please let me know, because we have openings here on the Real Talk Sports Show for interns. We're looking primarily for people that are doing stuff from behind the scenes. But if you say, look, man, I want to get on camera, I want to do some sports reporting with you, minister, no problem. Hit me up again, Jay Simmons at realtalksports.net, or certainly give me a call at 678-410-9833. And like I said, again, we would love to have you be a part of the Real Talk Sports Show. So please come on out and check us out. We'd love to have you and love to be a part of it. Let's see if we can go ahead and share this screen here. I'm going to try to get this rocking and rolling for you guys. Show you a little bit of the post excitement. Let's see if we can get here. We're going to share our screen. Hopefully it worked this time. We're going to share our screen here. Yep, we want to share the screen. And we're going to select the screen that we want to show here. And we're going to go here to, I don't know what happened. It doesn't, it's gone a little goofy. Okay, so never mind. Well, I'll try it again another day. We'll get it up for you. But the bottom line is that, like I say again, great stuff that, Lord have mercy. Great stuff went on here at the event, and it was really must-see TV. And again, big shout out to FAMU who won the game. It was actually the first time the SWAC had won the championship in 6 years. Uh, Grambling had won a few years back, and they were the first SWAC team to win it. So big shout out to FAMU and all the people there at the university. The other thing I did is, oh, matter of fact, oh, wait a minute, look, I'm looking right at the clip, guys. I'm so sorry. Here's the clip, post-game celebration from Florida A&M. Here we are.
All right, guys, we're here. Cricket celebration ball. SWAC has done it. FAMU has done it. You guys are right in the middle of it here down the field. SWAC has finally pulled it off. FAMU has done it. The Rattlers have come into Atlanta and knocked them off.
We did that. Hey, you know what it is? Best SWAC, man. We best SWAC. We did that.
First time the SWAC has won, guys, in 6 years. And who did it? The Rattlers from FAMU.
The Rattlers.
Yeah, I can see a lot of energy by the FAMU players, and it was so cool. Big shout out to Michelle Jenks and her PR company for allowing us to be there on the field after the game, and also shout out to ESPN Events. Like I said again, there some folks don't want you to be down there. Um, Somehow they feel that maybe you might kind of take some of the shine and maybe get some clips or things that ahead of time from them. But again, big shout out to those of them that let us on there. And I'm gonna try to see if I can get a clip of the band here real quick if I can. Let's see if I can get that because the band was rocking. And this was I think this was FAMU's band. Let's see if I can get you guys a little clip of that. And then we'll go back to social media because I know it's popping and buzzing. Let's see if we can get here a little bit. It's loading, 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 loading. And here we go. And for those of you listening on WIGO 1570, hopefully the sound quality is good. Sometimes when we kind of transfer this from video to audio, we lose a little bit. But again, you can go to our website and see and hear more. And here we go. A little bit of the band during the game. All right, a little bit of the band from FAMU again. For those of you listening on WIGO, you might have been as clean as I wanted to, but nevertheless, we wanted to at least give you guys a little taste of that. Like I said, it just really was electric atmosphere. Now, there were other bowl games going on, and we want to give a big shout out to a team that gave me my very first credential to a major sports event when I started doing the Real Talk Sports Show, now stunningly 15 years ago. Sully got it right. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, both eligible for the first time in over half a dozen years, go and win the Gasparilla Bowl, knocking off the University of Central Florida 30-17. Central Florida jumped out to an early lead, but the Jackets showed the mettle that we saw throughout the season when they beat teams like North Carolina and a couple other ranked top 25 ranked teams during the season. And they showed the mettle coming from behind, winning 30-17. I can tell you guys, you got to keep an eye out and listen for this name, Haynes King, which is the quarterback of the Jackets. This guy is a player. So keep your eyes focused on him next year and look for Georgia Tech to make some rumbling noises in the ACC next year, even though the ACC is all discombobulated and expanded like the rest of college football. But yeah, 30-17, baby. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets are back in the fold of winning football. Big shout out to them and all the things that program is doing. So happy that the Techsters are doing well. Got a lot of friends and former show members like the legendary Hall of Famer, the one and only I call him the Capitan, Kent Swilling, his family has been dominant. His cousin, Pat Swilling, also in the College Football Hall of Fame along with him. A Hall of Fame player, not Hall of Fame player, but certainly a dominant defensive player for the New Orleans Saints as well. His cousin, Trey Swilling, played for the Jackets a few years back. So, yeah, man, big shout out to the Yellow Jacks and all the stuff they're doing there. Going back to social media one more time, my man Sully says, hey, you know the talk where they say you just got a moss. You need to do that one until you just got real talk. Yes, that's how we do it, guys. We're gonna continue to have some fun here on this broadcast. I really get a kick out of coming on Saturday because Tuesday night I have to leave work, and sometimes the minister is a little bit fatigued. But Saturday morning, on the days that I am not working, I can just kind of get up, go up into the home studio, and chat with y'all about what's been happening in the world of sports. All right, we got to take a break again here at the halfway point of the show. We appreciate all those of you who are listening and watching us. Big shout out back at the studio to the lovely Lady E, who's holding it down at the legendary WIGO 1570. Keep it locked right here for more great sports talk and some fun right here. Keep it locked. We'll be back.
Did you know that Allen Vigil Ford in Morrow, Georgia also has Lincoln? Over 35 years of using the Vigil Touch to provide excellent customer service, works hand in hand with the Lincoln Motor Company to provide a luxurious and seamless way to acquire your next luxury vehicle. Lincoln has an array of full-service complimentary owner benefits. These benefits include hospitality partnerships, service pickup and delivery, all which can be accessed through the Lincoln Way app. You can even contact the 24/7 concierge to have someone assist you. Come and see our great inventory of new and pre-owned Lincolns today. Call 678-364-7345 to make an appointment with one of our brand champions or shop 24/7 online at allenvigillincoln.net.
This is OJ Howard with Real Talk Sports.
What's up, guys? This is Tim Tebow. You're listening to Real Talk Sports.
This is Charles Woodson. Let me grab the mic. You ready? This is Charles Woodson with Real Talk Sports. Hey, it's your boy JB Smooth with Real Talk Sports.
We're back here at the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your guy, the minister, Jonathan Simmons, and we are back here broadcasting to you live from just outside of downtown Atlanta from our home studio. Appreciate those of you who have tuned in to watch or listen to us. I want to give a big shout out again to those who are listening on WIGO Pacesetter 1570 AM, and those of you who are listening online at WIGO1570.com. And last but not least, a big shout out to those of you who are watching us on the replay. That means you have taken time out of your busy schedule to check us out here on your own time. So we appreciate you for doing that. All right, let's see if we can get you. We'll do this. I'm going to save the most irritating part of the broadcast for last, which is of course our coverage of the Atlanta Falcons. Guys, I don't even know what to say anymore. I mean, I'm just at a total loss for why this team can't seem to be able to consistently win games. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about something I found out in my research that is kind of a bellwether, an indicator to whether the Falcons are going to win or not. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But let's do this. Let's go here to the not to social media, but a clips of part 3 of my big triple header day. And I'm skipping part 2 only because not a lot to it. I went to the CBS Sports Classic. I want to say not a lot to it. That's wrong. I went to CBS Sports Classic, and it was pretty cool because on the CBS Sports Classic, it allowed me to see some of the blue bloods of college basketball. It was a 4-team, one-shot tournament, the Ohio State Buckeyes against the UCLA Bruins. And it was all blue, baby, in the second half as the Kentucky Wildcats took on the North Carolina Tar Heels. Now, for those of you college basketball fans, especially if you're kind of my age bracket, or maybe if you're right below me at a Gen Xer, so you're 40 or 50 years old, those 4 teams I mentioned, y'all already know. their history of college basketball is legendary. You talk about the UCLA Bruins first. Here's a team that under the late great coach John Wooden was dominant. They dominated college basketball from the mid 60s through into the mid 70s, won multiple national titles. I think they won 6 in a row. Guys like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Walton, led these dominant runs. Gail Goodrich. Now I know that name. You're like, who the heck is that? So I'll just leave it with Bill Walton and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for some of you younger guys out there. And then later on, found a resurgence in the 90s and into 2000s. Russell Westbrook grabbed a championship while he played with the Bruins. And of course, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Now again, you got to go way back into the 60s. And you guys, the young guys, have to look up guys like Jerry Lucas and John Havlicek. Those guys up. You're going way back. But as time went on, the Ohio State Buckeyes always were contender for the national championship and always went deep into the playoffs. And of course, the Blues, the Blue Bloods, Kentucky Wildcats, many championship banners are hung down in Kentucky. And of course, the North Carolina Tar Heels. Well, you know, probably the greatest basketball player ever to lace them up, Michael Jordan, plied his trade with the Tar Heels of North Carolina. So we did get a chance to go down there and check those guys out. Here's kind of what it looked like from that environment of the CBS Sports Classic. Let's take a look. I don't want to do too much of that because, like I said, I want to respect those of you who are listening on WIGO 1570. But basically, that was a little bit of sights and sounds, more the sounds for those of you listening from down there on the court. It was just, like I said, again, great stuff, must-see TV. I enjoyed every minute of it. Now, the night was capped off with me being suited and booted, baby, at the Mayor's Mass Ball. Now, the Mayor's Mass Ball is the premier fundraiser for HBCUs. The group that does the fundraising is called the UNCF, and that stands for the United Negro College Fund. And it was just, it's about fashion, it's about glamour. And the minister gets a chance to go really full score, suited and booted, the tuxedo, the whole thing. And of course, when we're out there, we get a chance to interview some great folks. And let's just see if I can get you guys a little bit of a snippet of some of the people I got a chance to interview there at the event. And it's all about the beauty and the glamour, folks. And we'll pop that up for you in just a second. Let's see if we can get this rocking and rolling and let you guys listen and hear the interviews with some of the people that I met at the Mayor's Mass Ball. Let's see if we can get.
All right, we're going to 3, 2, and 1. Hey guys, we're here. You know how I do it every year. This is my triple header. We've done the Celebration Bowl, we've done the CBS Sports Classic, and now, of course, our favorite is the Mayor's Mass Ball. And this lady next to me, I believe her company is one of the sponsors. She's going to introduce herself to you right now.
I'm Nikki Clifton. I'm the president of the UPS Foundation. We were the title sponsor tonight, and we are so thrilled to support UNCF. We donated $1 million tonight to support and uplift our youth. And as an HBCU grad, as the mother of an HBCU student, and the daughter of HBCU parents, I'm really proud of the work that we're doing and really happy to be uplifting these communities tonight.
You have a lot of DNA here. It's going right down the line. Listen, you talked about the excitement of you being involved in this. What could you guys do, or do you do already, to encourage other corporations to get involved at this grassroots level?
Well, you know what? Atlanta is a hometown where all the companies really join together. And so when they see UPS, that iconic brown logo, coming together to support UNCF, it brings everybody along. And tonight we had sponsors in the house like the founding sponsors, Coca-Cola. We had Delta Airlines and all of these supporting sponsors in the house. And it's just really a good opportunity for us to all uplift the mayor on the 40th anniversary of UNCF here in Atlanta.
Yes, there's great stuff going on.
Everybody, we're still here at the Mayor's Mass Ball, a wonderful event. You guys know I do a triple header. We did the Celebration Bowl, then we did the CBS Sports Classic, but this is the big one because there are great things with great people in the community. Matter of fact, this young lady is going to introduce herself to you right now.
Hello, I'm Catherine Williams.
Catherine, now what brings you out to this phenomenal event?
I have been attending the Mayor's Mass Ball Atlanta for about 15 years. I have, and it is scholarships for students. It's the United Negro College Fund, and it is such a great cause. So anything that I can do to contribute, I most certainly will. And how about, and this is a shameless plug, that they use my image on the website.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
So
well,
it's there right now.
Now you've got to be proud because you said 15 years. So you've seen this grown from, I mean, don't get me wrong, guys. It was a lot of money, but I heard there was a record-breaking amount tonight. I heard that it eclipsed 4 million.
That's right, 4 million. And just to hear some of the testimonies from the young students and how they would go to school and had no money, had no idea how they were going to pay for school. And one young lady said that she just stayed on the website with UNCF and said what kind of scholarship that she said, things that she didn't even really qualify for. She thought, but she applied anyway. And so she got at least $100,000 in scholarship money. And so she's graduating debt-free of any type of schooling, that loans, any schooling that she would have to pay for, because we pay for student loans for
That's a lot of money, right?
For 20 years.
And it seems to linger on and on and on and on.
Yes.
Listen, does you or your company have a website or social media where they can follow you and maybe see some of the great things you guys are doing?
Okay. Now I have I'm going to plug my own personal company is Crown Management Group and Crown Health. So I manage jazz artists, music management, and I also have a healthcare company. So, and I help the underserved.
Wow.
Right. And so both are very much in need. So www.crownmg.com, and it's Crown with a K, and it's Catherine with a K.
With a K, double K in the building. Listen, good to meet you. Great things going on.
Okay.
And look, guys, we're going to stay in contact with her because, we always try to bring you the good news of what's going on both on and off the court. So we thank you, Catherine, for joining us and appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, I had to have the ladies on this show. I'm just saying, for those of you who are watching and listening, of course, we always do that. But yeah, it's just great stuff. Great to be a part of that, and great to be involved in, some of the good things that are going on in the community. And interestingly enough, speaking of people and women of color, our station is owned by the incredible Sheila L. Brown. Now, you guys can Google her up. She is a tremendous entrepreneur. Our station was taken over by her about a year and a half ago, and she has transformed us back into a full-fledged powerhouse here in Metro Atlanta. The station has been totally renovated. We have not only just our AM broadcast station, but we, as I mentioned, broadcast online at WIGO1570.com. We have a podcast center, and we are renovating our video and television center. So good news. If you want to produce your own show, if you think you got a hot podcast and you say, look, I need somewhere to get this done, I need some people to help me out, give me a call or text me. 678-410-9833. Send me an email, jsimmons@realtalksports.net. We do have slots open available where you too can have your own radio show. Not just a podcast, but actually on the air. Mama and them can turn on the dial and listen to you live while they're in their cars. Or if there's somewhere outside Metro Atlanta, they can go to our website, or they can go to the TuneIn app, and bam, you're on and popping, man. You're in the real situation, as I like to say. So again, if you want to do that, contact me. You see it up there on the screen for those of you watching, for those who are listening on WIGO. 678-410-9833. We'll get you set up, and believe it or not, you can be on your own radio show. You can bring guests in, and you can be just like the folks on all the other big boy stations, and have your show on live radio. So again, contact me and we will hook you up and help you to do that, because we're all about doing that, man. It's about the community. And there's so many of you that are watching this show that some of you guys have your own podcast now. You're very talented. Well, this is your way to kind of get on the air and do your thing, baby. So contact me and let me know. All right, we're going to take one last break and then take a deep breath, folks. The Falcons, are they finished? Is the Arthur Smith regime over? Terry Fontenot, is that whole crew gone? I want to hear your comments about it when we come back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show in just a moment.
Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our number one priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net.
Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm Aria, the first AI presenter for Real Talk Sports. We want to get your feedback about my participations in the show, so please leave comments. So stay tuned, the Real Talk Sports Show is coming up.
Hey, we're back here with the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your man, the minister, Jonathan Simmons. Appreciate all those of you who have tuned in to check out the broadcast today. We appreciate you very, very much. Well, for those of you who are Falcons fans, it's like the 3 F's where they say you feel, found. I forgot what the other one is, but for the Falcons, it's been flop. This team has been, over the last 2 or 3 years with this new regime, one of the most frustrating teams to root for that I can remember. A team that on paper appears to be loaded with offensive talent, a team that this year now appears to be have a top 10 defense, a team that has a Pro Bowl kicker. You think all the ingredients are there for a winning ball club, a team that should be contending for postseason play every year, right? Bam, wrong. Arthur Smith and his regime has turned in what should be fun times into week after week of frustration and anger, really, for so many fans. And speaking of that, if you guys want to chime in here, what you think about the Falcons thus far and what you think about the Arthur Smith regime, you know what to do. If you're listening, call Lady E, our producer, back in the studio, 404-361-1571. Or if you're watching online, just go ahead and put your comments in on the Real Talk Sports page, either on Facebook or on YouTube, and I'll see you, and we'll respond to the comments. Yeah, so I'm looking at the Falcons. I mean, if you look at just the stats, like I went on and pulled up the stats for the Falcons. I looked at stats and looked at the stats for the team, looked at the stats for the individual players. And when you first look at the stats, it looks like, oh, okay, it's not too bad. We got something here. We got something that should work out, a team that should be winning. But in fact, we have a team that's underperforming in every level, and more importantly, continues to find ways to sabotage themselves throughout the season. So let me just take a look here at the stats on paper so you guys can get a feel for, how it looks. All right, Desmond Ridder, a guy that last year and through much of this year looked like he couldn't be anywhere near a NFL level quarterback. He has actually thrown for almost 2,600 yards. And this with him being benched a game and a half, 2,600 yards. So he would be on pace if he continued to play for over 3,000 yards. And last year, if anybody had said to you, hey, Desmond Ridder is going to throw for about 3,200 yards for the season, you say, oh, okay, that's about 200 yards a game. We can work with that. As a matter of fact, he has been averaging just under 200 yards a game passing, about 195. And you guys heard me many, many times say, I felt that if Desmond Ridder could at least give us 175 yards passing, this could be a winning ball club. Okay? Look at the new rookie, Bijan Robinson. And I don't want to get your opinion to whether the Falcons even should have drafted this guy. But he's on pace for a 1,000-yard season. He's got 801 yards. He's averaging about just around 4.5 yards a carry. He has made some plays that have been just electric, both running the ball and pass catching. So he said, okay, not bad there either. You look at the other guy they drafted in the top 10, Drake London, a guy who was out for a game with injury, 769 yards in receiving. If things work the right way, he could potentially also have 1,000 yards in receiving. And you're thinking, man, this looks good. Here's the problem. The problem is we deep dive into Desmond Ritter's stats. He only has 10 touchdowns and he has matched that with 10 interceptions. He also, I believe, has 5 fumbles as well. And his passer rating is a mediocre 82.2. If we look at Bijan Robinson, again, he has put up some, you saw the numbers, 800 yards on the ground. He's in, I believe, the top 10 or 15 in the league in rushing. The problem is he also has been a turnover machine. I shouldn't say machine, but he also has had turnover problems, especially at the biggest moments. He has had at least 2 fumbles that have cost the Falcons a win. And you say to yourself, what on earth? We invested all this capital into these guys and they're not performing. The other thing that you run into with the Falcons is Arthur Smith's inept play calling. Now, let me retract that. It's not so much as play calling is inept, it's the play calling doesn't take full advantage at the right time of the personnel they have. Let me give you an example. Couple of plays that have turned the tide for the Falcons in losses have come when players have not executed. But let's boil it down. For example, we had a couple of weeks ago, Desmond Ridder throw an interception against Tampa Bay, which really turned the tide of the game in the Tampa Bay red zone. The Falcons were backed up on their own 4 or 5 yard line. And for some reason, Arthur Smith calls a play. It's kind of like almost like a bubble screen. Now, I get it. This bubble screen has been effective for the Falcons. They've had big plays and touchdowns on it, but that's not a play you call when you're backed up, near your own end zone. You don't call a play like that. You keep it safe. You keep it simple. But he calls the play. Now, the problem is not only did he call the play, but he had a wide receiver and a tight end in Kyle Pitts, who is really kind of like a hybrid, almost more of a wide receiver, trying to make blocks on the plays. Well, guess what happened? Because that's not really their skill set and strength. The blocks were botched and the pass was intercepted. We see this kind of stuff constantly where he calls plays that don't fit the personnel. We've had other plays where they have short yardage situation and they'll give the ball to a Bijan Robinson instead of to a Tyler Algiers. Now, Tyler Algiers is kind of your big bruiser back. He's that bowling ball guy that normally gets you the types of yards on those short yardage plays. But instead, they try to give a wide out pitch to a Bijan Robinson. Of course, he gets stopped because he's not really a true north and south runner. He's more an east to west, juke you and shake you runner. And they're calling pass plays for Desmond Ridder, or maybe he kind of misunderstood the play, where they had a critical interception last week against the Panthers, which, of course, the Panthers then took the ball down and marched the length of the field for the game-winning field goal. And this is what we get week in, week out. The play calling that doesn't fit the situation, and then bad execution by the players. I'm looking at these guys that they have brought. Here's what I mean by this: is I look at this regime and I look at these guys they brought in, and the whole time when they bring in, whether it be Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, and to some degree Drake London, they told us that these guys, especially with Bijan Robinson and in the case of Kyle Pitts, these guys were generational players. That these guys will be game changers. The realities are, if I look around the league, Kyle Pitts, I understand he's had some injuries. You got to take into account of that. But at the end of the day, Kyle Pitts is the guy is not even, if you talk about tight ends, he's barely the best tight end on our own team. If you look at stat-wise, I mean, barely. I mean, I look at the tight end room and I look at the guys that are the go-to guys. And yeah, Kyle Pitts has made some nice plays, but in essence, Jonnu Smith really is giving you about the same stats. If you look at Jonnu Smith's stats, a guy they brought, not the waiver wire, but basically a guy made a trade with very little assets. Jonnu Smith has about the same production as a guy that you picked number 4 overall and let several players go that I think could have had a bigger impact on the team. Main one, Penei Sewell. because where the Falcons need help, offensive line. And Panay Sewell has been one of the better offensive linemen since he's come into the league. Falcons could have drafted him. They could have drafted Micah Parsons. Now, a lot of people said at that time Micah Parsons would have been a stretch at 4, but he's been a dominant defensive player. Not just pretty good, not just very good. He's been dominant. He has been an absolute game wrecker and game changer for the Cowboys. But the Falcons, no, we need a generational unicorns type tight end. And again, Kyle Pitts is an excellent player, but for a number 4 pick, he's not giving me that game record, game changer. You don't hear people talk about, well, we got a game plan to kind of stop Kyle Pitts. You hear any NFL defensive coordinator talking about Kyle Pitts being such a threat? No. So this is my problem. My problem is that, again, I talked to you guys earlier in the broadcast about the idea of what makes teams great, what makes teams consistently be able to contend for championships. It's the infrastructure. And the Falcons, from their management position, don't seem to have the infrastructure. And whether that be from Arthur Blank, whether that be from why can't I think of his name now? I'm drawing a blank. Lord have mercy. They're a long time. I don't know if he's even team president anymore. I think he might be just like an advisor. No, I can't. Rich McKay. I don't know if he's the problem. I don't know what it is, but this Falcons team has not built a really solid infrastructure for a while. And what I mean by that is, as much as we had disappointment in the Matt Ryan era and the Thomas Dimitroff era, the realities are they had a stretch where they went to the playoff. I think it was 6 straight years. And every year, the Falcons were a contender for not only postseason play, but potential championship. So as much as we got mad and we're out of sorts about those years, now looking back, we had something that was pretty darn good. And the realities are, the thing that really got Thomas Dimitroff out of here, he wasn't a bad GM. The problem is for some reason, he could not draft linemen. For that conundrum, not conundrum, but that group of people they had to try to, get their draft picks together, for some reason, they could never really consistently draft good linemen. Now, they did draft Jake Matthews, who's, played in the record, I think, 150 straight games. They did draft Sam Baker. Unfortunately, got injured. He might have been a decent player. But even with Jake Matthews, he's went to the Pro Bowl. I think he's an alternate 2 times. And quiet as it's kept, yes, he's been solid. But he also has been a guy who has been part of some of the great gaffes in Falcon lore. People want to talk about Matt Ryan and different things about Shanahan and play calls. If you go back and look at that Super Bowl, 2 critical holding penalties by Jake Matthews really kind of turned the tide of that game. And even during this season, there have been several false start penalties and different things, procedural penalties, that the guy who was the culprit was number 70. But all that being said, still you had a consistent winning. Since that time, been terrible. And in the Arthur Smith regime, I know some, hey, you guy came here and the Falcons were strapped. I get all that stuff. But they've had 2 drafts. They had this season where they had all the money spent. It worked on defense. But basically, they have misfired in the way they've handled their assets again. So to me, the Falcons have to look potentially to get rid of what they got. They might have to kind of scrap the Arthur Smith regime and start from scratch. And here's a little tidbit I'm going to give you. You brought in Bijan Robinson, right? I'm going to give you the stat. Do you know that in games where Tyler Argiles had 14 carries or more, the Falcons are 5-3? I'm just saying. The guy that you picked in the 5th round, I think, is really the key to your team winning, more so than anybody else. When Tyler Argiles, again, I'm going to say it again, when he gets the ball 14 times or more, the Falcons are 5-3. And the record right now is 6-8. So that means in games when he doesn't get 14 carries or more, the Falcons are 1-5. And I'm leaving it on that note. All right, guys, appreciate those of you tuned in to listen to us today, especially those of you on WIGO 1570. I'm going to tell you guys to keep it locked right here on our station. Remember, follow us anywhere on social media at WIGOM 1570. Appreciate all those of you who tuned in today. And before I leave, for those of you on social media, I remind you, the preacher's telling you now, if you don't have a relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ, you have to do that today. Nobody loves you like Jesus. He is the one that died for you and he rose from the dead. And when he did, if you believe in him, two great things happen. Number one, you become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. And number two, you become an adoptive child of God with all the rights therein. And that means you have a great life here on earth, not problem free, but at least one of purpose. And number two, when you die, you go to a happy place called heaven and avoid that nasty place called hell. I don't know about you, but I like option number one instead of option number two. All right, guys, until next time, we get back together again. God bless you and have a wonderful rest of your day or evening. So long, and God bless.